Imagine this. By 2025, the global market for advanced driver assistance systems, we call them ADs, it's projected to hit a whopping USD 30.6 billion.
Wow. Yeah, that's not just a big number. It's, a really clear sign that the tech in our cars is going through this huge change.
Absolutely. And this isn't some like far off future thing.
No, not at all. These systems are becoming pretty standard in cars on the road right now.
So, in this deep dive, we're going to explore what's really behind this incredible growth. We're drawing on a pretty comprehensive report that looks back a few years and forecasts out for the next decade or so.
Yeah, exactly. We want to unpack the forces driving these changes,
Yeah.
what it means for vehicle tech, and, the big one, safety.
Right. The goal here is to give you a clear, sort of concise overview of this major shift in the automotive world. We're not just going to throw numbers around.
Our aim is really to pull out the key trends, look at the interesting differences between regions, and pinpoint the actual technologies shaping this ADS market.
And the report covers quite a span, right?
It does. It looks historically from 2021 to 2024, gives estimates for 2025, and then forecasts all the way out to 2033. So, yeah, a really wide view.
Okay, so let's unpack that huge number first.
Yeah.
USD 30.6 billion for 2025. But the report doesn't stop there, does it?
No, it forecasts that the market's going to skyrocket to USD 73.2 billion by 2033.
73 billion. Wow.
Yeah, and that represents a compound annual growth rate, a CAGR of 11.5%.
Okay, so KGR, that's like the average yearly growth, assuming it's steady over that whole period. What's
Yeah.
actually fueling this kind of massive expansion?
Well, it's really a few key things coming together. First, there's just this huge growing focus worldwide on making cars safer.
Makes sense. Safety is always top of mind when you buy a car.
Exactly. Consumers are asking for these features more and more. Yeah. And then you've got regulatory bodies stepping in, putting stricter rules in place to prevent accidents, reduce injuries.
So government mandates are a big piece too.
A very big piece. It's closely linked. These laws and guidelines often require or, strongly encourage specific ADS features in new cars that naturally pushes the market up.
So it's kind of a mix of what we want as drivers and what governments are saying needs to happen.
Precisely. And the final piece is just growing demand and awareness from drivers themselves. People are getting familiar with things like automatic emergency braking or lane keeping assist. They know what they are now, and they actively look for them.
Okay. Now, the report also breaks this down geographically, and it sounds like there are some pretty interesting differences depending on where you are. North America is leading the pack currently.
Yes, that's right. North America holds the biggest share. We're talking over 37% of global revenue projected for 2025. That translates to about USD 11.3 billion.
And still growing quite a bit.
Yeah, it's predicted to keep growing with a lead MAR of 9.9% through 2033. So still strong growth even from that leading position.
What makes North America stand out so much? Is it just the size?
Size is part of it, definitely. The U.S. market alone is projected at USD 8.9 billion for 2025, with a 9.7% CAGR. There's a really strong interest there in autonomous driving tech and also electric vehicles, which often bundle in advanced EV.
Where EVs often come loaded with tech.
They do. And Canada's significant too, looking at USD 1.36 billion, with a slightly higher CGR, actually 10.7%. And Mexico contributes over $1 billion as well, USD 1.03 billion, with a 10.4% CAGR.
Okay, so North America leads. How does Europe stack up?
Europe's number 2. It holds over 29% of the global revenue, which is about USD 8.88 billion projected for 2025.
Still a huge market.
Oh, absolutely. And interestingly, its projected CGR is actually a bit higher than North America's at 10.5%, so it suggests maybe even stronger growth momentum there.
Huh. That is interesting. What's driving that slightly faster growth in Europe?
Though several key countries are showing really strong numbers. The UK, for example, is looking at USD 1.49 billion in 2025 and an 11.3% CAGR. Germany's even bigger, USD 1.76 billion, 10.7% CAGR.
So Germany and the UK are powerhouses there.
Definitely. Then you have France at around 817 million, Italy at 764 million, both with KGRs near 10%. Russia is also a large market, about USD 1.38 billion, though slightly slower growth at 9.5%. Spain, Sweden, they all show healthy growth too.
And why the slightly higher overall growth rate for Europe?
It's likely a combination of factors. Many European countries have particularly strict safety regulations. Plus, there's often a higher adoption rate of luxury vehicles, and those almost always come packed with the latest AGS features.
That makes sense. Okay, now let's shift to Asia Pacific, APAC. The numbers there tell a different story again, right?
They really do. While their market share in 2025 is smaller, around 24% or USD 7.35 billion, their projected CGR is the highest globally,
The highest. How high?
a remarkable 14.3%. That points to incredibly rapid expansion across that whole region.
Wow, nearly 15% average growth per year. Where's that primarily coming from? Which countries?
China's a huge driver. Their market's projected at over USD 3 billion, 3.09 billion specifically in 2025 with a 13.8% CGR year.
What's fueling China's growth?
A lot of it is tied to the explosion in electric vehicle sales there, plus really strong government support for ADAS tech.
Okay. And other key players in APAC.
India is another one to watch.
Mm.
A smaller market now, maybe USD 735 million, but with an incredibly high CAGR forecast of 16.2%.
16%. Why so high in India?
It seems to be fueled by rising demand for premium cars as incomes increase. People are upgrading, and they want these advanced safety and convenience features.
So economic factors playing a big role in APAC.
Exactly. And it's not just China and India. Japan, South Korea, Australia, Southeast Asia, they all show really strong growth too, with KGRs mostly above 12%, some even higher like Singapore and Taiwan around 14%. It's really widespread across the region.
Okay, quite the growth story there.
Yeah.
The report also touches on South America, the Middle East, and Africa. What's the picture like in those regions? A bit smaller.
Yeah, smaller shares, but still significant growth. South America has just over 4% share, about USD 1.16 billion in 2025, but a strong KGR of 12.2%.
Where in South America?
Brazil and Argentina are the key markets. Growth there seems influenced by things like, unfortunately, high traffic accident rates, but also increasing urbanization, which makes driver assistance more valuable in congested cities.
And the Middle East?
Similar share, around 4%, maybe slightly larger market size at USD 1.23 billion, and also a strong CGR of 12.8%. Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Turkey are the main players. Changing driving laws and growing safety awareness seem to be key factors there. Qatar's focus on intelligent parking tech is also noted.
Right. And Africa.
Africa holds the smallest share, around 2.2%. That's about USD 674 million in 2025, within 11.8% CAGR. So still growing respectively.
Which countries lead there?
South Africa is the largest, driven by demand for more sophisticated safety features. Nigeria is also mentioned, influenced by government road safety programs.
So it's really clear that while North America and Europe are the biggest markets now, the fastest growth is definitely happening elsewhere, especially APAC.
Absolutely. The growth story is really shifting.
Okay, let's pivot from regions to the technologies themselves. The report breaks down the market by specific tech segments. Which ones are kind of leading the pack right now?
Well, according to the report, the Tire Pressure Monitoring System, TPMS, is likely the dominant segment currently.
TPMS. Why that one?
It's pretty fundamental, right? It helps with fuel efficiency, makes tires last longer, and crucially reduces accidents from underinflated tires. Plus, consumer awareness is high. You know, that little light on your dash, and safety rules in many places mandate it. So it's very widespread.
Yeah, that makes sense. It feels like almost every new car has that now. But what about the tech that's growing the fastest?
That would be Adaptive Cruise Control, or ACC. The report points to ACC as the fastest growing segment.
Okay, ACC. Why is that taking off so quickly?
It's really being pushed by advances in sensor tech. Things like radar getting better, and especially the increasing use and decreasing cost of LiDAR, which uses lasers for that detailed 3D view.
Right, better sensors mean better ACC performance.
Exactly. And that feeds into the growing consumer demand for semi-autonomous features, making highway driving easier, less stressful. Plus, the rise of EVs often sees ACC tightly integrated.
Yeah, it seems like a feature people really value for longer drives.
Yeah. Okay, what about the actual components, the bits and pieces that make these systems work?
Right. In terms of components, cameras actually hold the largest market share right now.
Cameras.
Still.
Yeah, think about how many things they do. Lane departure warnings, traffic sign recognition, pedestrian detection. Cameras are the eyes for so many basic and mid-level ADS functions. And advancements in AI and image processing just keep making them better.
So vision is still key. But you mentioned LiDAR earlier as driving ACC growth. Is that component growing fast too?
Oh, absolutely. LiDAR is seeing rapid growth as a component segment. Like we said, it creates those super detailed, high-resolution 3D maps around the car that's essential for more advanced functions and, critically, for higher levels of autonomous driving.
And the cost is coming down.
That's the anticipation, yes. As LiDAR gets cheaper and smaller, you'll see it integrated into more mainstream cars, not just the high-end luxury models. That will really accelerate its adoption.
Okay, that makes sense. Cost is always a factor. Now, let's think about the vehicles themselves. Which types are getting these systems the most?
Unsurprisingly, passenger vehicles, regular cars and SUVs, make up the biggest slice of the ADS market right now. That's just driven by the sheer volume of passenger car sales and individual buyers wanting those safety and convenience features.
But is there another vehicle type where ADS adoption is growing particularly fast?
Yes, definitely. Light commercial vehicles or LCVs,
Yeah.
think delivery vans, smaller work trucks, that sector is showing really rapid growth in ADS adoption.
Why LCVs specifically?
Businesses are realizing the benefits. ADS and LCVs can help reduce accidents, which lowers insurance and repair costs. It improves driver safety, which is huge, and it can make their whole fleet operation more efficient. Plus, the growth of electric LCVs is also playing a part here.
So it's a bottom line calculation for businesses, not just personal convenience. That's interesting. The report also slices the market by the level of autonomy.
Right. And currently, Level 1 ADS holds the largest market share.
Level 1, remind us what that includes.
That's your basic driver assistance. Things like adaptive cruise control, maintaining speed and distance, and lane keeping assist, the system that nudges you back if you drift.
The feature's becoming pretty standard now.
Exactly. They're common because they're relatively easy and cheap to integrate into vehicles.
Okay, so level 1 is the most common, but which level is growing the fastest?
That'd be Level 4. Level 4 systems are those that can handle pretty much all driving tasks under specific conditions, like maybe on a highway or in a defined urban zone, without needing the driver to intervene.
So significantly more automated?
Much more. And the rapid progress we're seeing in sensors, AI, machine learning, it's making Level 4 capabilities seem much more achievable. Plus, the whole industry push towards fully autonomous driving is really fueling growth in this category.
Right, level 4 feels like a big step towards that driverless future. Okay, one final way the report breaks things down. The propulsion type. How the car is powered.
Yeah, and as you'd probably guess, vehicles with internal combustion engines, ICE vehicles, your traditional gas and diesel cars, they currently hold the biggest market share for ADs.
Just because there are so many of them?
Pretty much. They've dominated the roads for decades. There's a massive existing fleet, and it's relatively straightforward to add or integrate AD features into established ICE models.
Makes sense, but I bet I know where the fastest growth is.
You got it. Battery electric vehicles, BEVs, that's the fastest growing sector for ADAS when you look at propulsion type.
Why the strong link between BEVs and 80s growth?
Several things. Government incentives are pushing EV adoption. There's growing environmental awareness. Battery tech keeps improving, making EVs more practical. And automakers often position EVs as technologically advanced, so loading them up with the latest ADS features fits that image and enhances the convenience and safety appeal.
So the EV revolution and the ADS revolution are kind of feeding each other.
You could definitely say that. They're advancing hand in hand in many ways.
Now, the report also gives a nod to the major companies involved here. Who are the big players?
It's a competitive space, for sure. Some of the key names mentioned are Robert Bosch, ZF Friedrichshafen, Continental AG, Denso, Magna International, and Mobileye, which is now part of Intel, of course.
What makes them the leaders?
Generally, it's their wide range of products, strong global distribution networks, and a really heavy focus on R&D and innovation in this specific area. They invest a lot.
And the report mentions some recent activities too, just as examples.
Yeah, a couple of interesting ones. It highlighted Bosch partnering with Microsoft, I think back in February 2024, to use generative AI to improve car features, including autonomous driving aspects.
AI playing a bigger role.
Definitely. And it also mentioned Magna International, introducing a new 360-degree video system in April 2023. That's designed to make parking and slow-speed driving easier by getting rid of blind spots, like a super advanced parking camera system.
So continuous innovation, strategic partnerships. That seems key to staying ahead. Okay, finally, the report touches on things that might slow this down and things that could speed it up even more. What are the potential roadblocks?
Well, on the restraint side, one big one is infrastructure. In some parts of the world, the roads, the signage, the connectivity, it might not be good enough to support the full capabilities of advanced ADAS. That could definitely limit growth there.
Right, the car might be ready, but the roads aren't.
Exactly. And the other factor is cost. These systems add complexity and hardware, which increases the price of the vehicle. That can be a barrier to wider adoption, especially in more price-sensitive market segments.
Okay, infrastructure and cost. What about the trends that are expected to push the market forward even faster?
The report really emphasizes two major trends. First, just the ongoing accelerating developments in autonomous vehicles themselves. As we get closer to cars driving themselves more often, the underlying ADAS tech becomes even more critical and in demand.
The journey fuels the components.
Precisely. And second, the rapid progress and wider use of machine learning and artificial intelligence. AI is expected to significantly boost the capabilities of ADAS, making them smarter, more reliable, better at handling complex situations, which will, in turn, fuel growth.
So self-driving ambitions and smarter AI are the big accelerators. Got it. Wow, this has been a really comprehensive look at the ADAS market. If you had to boil it down, what are the main things our listeners should take away?
I think the key points are, 1, this ADAS market is seeing really significant sustained growth globally. 2, there's a clear move towards more sophisticated, more automated systems. 3, while North America and Europe lead now, the fastest growth by far is in Asia Pacific.
Right. And specific tech driving it.
Yeah. 4, technologies like adaptive cruise control and components like LiDAR are really pushing the envelope. 5, watch the LCV and BEV segments. That's where a lot of rapid ADAS adoption is happening.
And the underlying drivers.
Well, 6, while cost and infrastructure can be speed bumps, the big push towards autonomous driving and the power of AI are major tailwinds. And finally, underlying everything is that increasing global focus on vehicle safety. That's the fundamental driver.
That really covers it. So as these ADAS technologies become just normal, expected parts of our cars, here's something to really chew on. How is this going to fundamentally change our relationship with driving, with our own mobility over the next, say, 10 years?
Yeah, it's a big question.
Beyond just the tech, what kind of unexpected ripple effects might we see in society, in how our cities are designed, maybe as these systems get woven deeper into our daily lives? Definitely a lot to think about.